instant notice. This story is not for the faint of heart. Don't say I didn't warn you. On a silent night, in an old hospital on the outskirts of Soria, a nurse was working her shift with a persistent feeling of unease. The geriatric ward, with its walls covered in peeling paint and windows that barely let in any light, seemed to whisper secrets she didn't want to hear. Most of the patients were asleep. Their shallow breathing and the heavy silence filled the air, except for a faint whisper that seemed to emerge from the shadows. The nurse approached Mrs. Rosa's room, an elderly woman who always seemed to be in another world, lost in distant thoughts. However, that night, Rosa did not recognize her. Her eyes were empty, and her voice came out broken, as if her words were coming from another dimension. She whispered something the nurse couldn't understand, but what really caught her attention was the expression on her face. A mixture of fear and desperation. As she walked down the hallway, a chill ran down her spine. The feeling of being watched intensified. Just as she turned her head, she thought she saw a figure at the end of the hallway. A silhouette dressed in black, with a pale face and empty eyes that stared at her intently. The figure vanished in the blink of an eye, leaving behind an even deeper silence. As the night went on, the atmosphere became oppressive. The lone nurse began to distinctly hear unsettling footsteps echoing in the otherwise empty rooms, heavy chains dragging ominously across the cold floor, and chilling whispers that gradually turned into terrifying, muffled screams. The sense of danger grew with every minute, as if something invisible was lurking in the shadows, feeding on the fear she herself felt. Suddenly, at the end of the hallway, she saw a shadow slowly rise. It was a figure that seemed to be made of black smoke, with a face that was nothing more than a mask of torn flesh. The figure approached slowly, unhurried, with movements that seemed disjointed. The nurse tried to step back, but her feet seemed glued to the floor, unable to escape. Then, the figure opened its mouth, revealing sharp, jagged teeth. What came out was a scream that was not human, a heart-wrenching wail that seemed to pierce her ears and go straight to the depths of her mind. The shadowy figure vanished in the blink of an eye, but the chilling echo of its piercing scream lingered persistently in her ears, as a haunting reminder that something truly evil had been unleashed upon the world that fateful night. When she looked back, the attentive nurse immediately saw that in Rosa's dimly lit room, there was a truly dark, thick, liquid, and incredibly viscous stain that seemed to slowly and ominously spread across the polished floor. Something truly unsettling had emerged from that shadowy figure, something she found utterly impossible to describe with mere words, but she instinctively knew it was undeniably here to remain, to relentlessly feed upon all fear and despair. With her heart pounding wildly, the nurse ran out of the hallway, only to be confronted by a scene that made her blood run cold. The room she had been in just minutes before was now covered in a black, sticky, viscous substance, and on the floor, in the middle of it, lay a lifeless body, eyes wide open, and wearing an expression of unspeakable horror. The skin, torn in some places, revealed exposed flesh, as if something had devoured it from the inside out. They never found the culprit. The room was sealed off, but the rumors and stories about that night in that hospital on the outskirts of Soria never disappeared. Some say that the figure of black smoke still lurks in the shadows, waiting for its next victim. Others say that what truly came out of Rosa, something that absolutely does not belong to this world, still ominously roams, perpetually feeding on the very flesh and profound anguish of those unfortunate souls who dare to cross its terrifying path. And in the darkness, in the forgotten corners of the hospital, whispers can still be heard, calling, waiting for someone else to fall into its clutches.
Subscribe to my YouTube channel, give it a like, and turn on notifications.